All right, we are going to get into the prefixes and suffixes that you're going to need for our quarter two root words. We're not even going to get into the roots yet. I just want to make sure that everybody has a good handle on what all these prefixes and suffixes mean. So to start out, and I really hope this is a review, what are prefixes and suffixes? They're little word parts. They're added to a word to change the meaning or to change the part of speech. This is a little tricky because some of the prefixes we're going to be looking at today, they can be used as prefixes and sometimes they're actually used as root words. So you be a little flexible in your thinking as like what's a prefix and what's a root word, because some of them can do both. Prefixes go at the beginning of the word because the prefix pre in prefix means before, and then suffixes go on the end of the word. Prefixes and suffixes added together are called affixes. There's also another kind called interfixes. We don't have those in English, only exist in other languages. But there you have it, prefixes and suffixes. I recommend for this, now I'm not going to check it, this isn't an assignment, but you're going to want to learn these and you're going to kind of want to just be able to like pull them out of your memory. So if you are having trouble remembering what these mean, I recommend you get 8 note cards, okay? Your teacher will be able to find you some note cards if you need them. Write the prefix or suffix on one side and then write what it means or what it does on the other side, and then use these to quiz yourself. And this will ultimately help you sort of commit these to memory, and then you'll be able to use them when you see them in other random words out in the wild. Okay, let's go on to the prefixes. The first prefix that we're going to look at has 2 separate spellings, and that's in and im, but they mean the same thing. They mean not. Okay? In can also mean, in something like your inbox. That's another prefix that means in. In means in. But in this case, it pairs with im and it means not. So we're just focusing on this not meaning. So some that we're going to look at are imperfect, invisible, immovable, immoral, indescribable, and inconvenient. So this is a nice, easy one to show how prefixes work, because if I go in and I just replace this in or this im with the word not, it makes perfect sense. So imperfect, I just, put in not for this and it means not perfect. Invisible, not visible. Immovable, not movable. Immoral, not moral. Okay, you get the picture, I hope. Fun little side fact, if you want to know whether it's in or im, if you look at these words, moral, movable, and perfect, they start with M and P. And if you think about what your mouth is doing while you say the beginning of perfect, movable, moral, you've got your lips together, and that's the same shape as the M. So that's why we put the M there, im, instead of the N and in, because immoral would be difficult to say. Immoral is a little bit easier. So sometimes we get lazy and then we make new words. All right, our next prefix is the prefix by, and it means to. There are a couple different prefixes or roots that mean to, and this is just one of them. So you may also see do or duo or do-a, but for today's purposes and for this unit's purposes, just know that by means to. So bicycle it has 2 cycles, 2 wheels. Biannual happens once every 2 years. Bifocals are those glasses that have 2 different focus points, one for far away and one for close. Bipartisan is both political parties, and bisexual is someone who's attracted to both genders. And bilingual is somebody who speaks 2 languages. So these all have to do with the word to. This is one of those that can be a prefix, or it can also be a root of its own. So cent means 100. Okay? I hope this one's easy to remember, because how many cents are there in a dollar? There are 100 cents. So there you go. You don't have an excuse to not remember what the root word cent means. So centennial is like 100 years. Percent, you think about math class, percent or percentage, it's Out of 100. Per means out of, cent means 100. Out of 100. A century is, again, 100 years. Centennial is like the celebration of 100 years, and a century is just 100 years. A centimeter is a meter divided into 100 pieces, right? And one of those is a centimeter. And then the easy one is a cent, like the unit of money, 1 cent, 1 penny, 1/100th of a dollar. The next one, this gets tricky because people always think of like ex-boyfriend, and it is related to that, but technically ex in its more literal meaning, the prefix means out. So an exit is where you go out. In this case, X is being used more as a root, but usually this is a prefix. An exoskeleton, if an animal has an exoskeleton, it's on the outside. If we excavate something, we take it out of, they say a cave, but it also could be just the ground. We excavate. When we exhale, we breathe out. And when we expel someone or something, we kick it out. And if you exorcise the demons, not exercise like running or lifting weights, but exercise, it's when they try to get like a demon or whatever it is out of somebody's body. So X means out. All right, the prefix dis means not or non, and non is actually another prefix that means not. You'll find there are a lot of these. We have a lot of ways of saying opposite or not. So if you dislike someone, you don't like them. If you disagree, you don't agree. If you have a disability, it's something that you're not able to do. If you disbelieve, you don't believe someone. If you have a disease, it's like ease as in like feeling good. You are feeling not good, not eased. And then if you disappear, you make yourself not appear. So a lot of times dis will go with a verb, but then sometimes it can be turned into like with disease into a noun, or disability is a noun. So it's just another way of saying not or opposite or don't. Re, this is one that people seem to have an easy time remembering because we use it a lot. So re means again or repeat. Repeat actually has re in it. So if you reread something, and this is the hardest word, I struggle to say this word because the double R. If you reread something, you read it again. You've already read it, you're reading it again. If you redo something, you do it again. Reanimate. It was dead and now it is alive. I've reanimated it. Reconnect. It was connected. It got disconnected. There's another word. And then I reconnected it. If you recalculate something, your math teacher says, hey, you did this right, but you made a calculation error. Go back and recalculate. You go back and do it again. And then if you reappear after you've disappeared, you're back. Okay, 2 suffixes. There are only 2 of them, and they are ones that we've looked at before, and they have to do with parts of speech. So tion or ation, it turns things into a noun. It's like the state or action of being or doing something, but what you need to remember is that it turns it into a noun. So we've got participation. Okay, it's the act of participating. Population is like the state or number of people in the population. Satisfaction is like the state of being satisfied or happy with something. Completion is like the state of being done. So you say, I've completed it, I've reached completion. It's the thing you do. Okay, accusation is like the state of accusing someone of doing something. You don't accusation somebody, you accuse them. Accuse is the verb, or you make an accusation, where make is the verb and accusation is the noun. And then inhalation, okay, you inhale, or you could say, that was a big inhalation. It's the thing you do. So it's a noun. And then able and able is another pretty easy one because it means able to be something or able to do something, able to something. But the important thing to note is that it's an adjective that describes a noun. So that's totally doable. It's totally able to be done. It's flammable. It's able to be flammed, which is actually flame, which is set on fire. It's able to be set on fire. Edible is not able to be edited. This is the word eat, changed around. So edible is able to be eaten. Comprehensible is able to be comprehended or understood. Legible is not able to be legged, it's able to be read. So if your handwriting is legible, I can read it. If it's illegible, I cannot. And then visible is able to be vised, which you know from last quarter means see or seen. So it's able to be seen. So your next step is to do vocab check number 1, which is prefixes and suffixes. And then we will be digging into our root words. Have a wonderful day.